For classic matches done in the same style as this one, go over to patreon.com/drunkredhead. Last time out on my World Cup qualifying roundup videos, we were looking at another batch of games from matchday 7 of European qualifying, including this glorious debut goal from Ben Woodburn of Wales. This time out, we finish off round 3 in Asian qualifying, meaning we'll see 3 teams qualify at some point in this video. We'll start with Group B as the United Arab Emirates hosted Saudi Arabia at the Hazard bin Zayed Stadium in Al Ain. Halfway through the first half, Saudi Arabia got themselves a penalty, and it was converted on 20 minutes via Nawaf Al-Abed. The Saudi lead barely lasted a minute though, and the United Arab Emirates equalised on 21 minutes via Ali Mabkout. In the second half, it got worse for Saudi Arabia as they fell behind to this absolute screamer from Ahmed Khalil on 60 minutes, and that was the final score, 2-1 to the UAE. The loss for Saudi Arabia meant that Japan could seal qualification to the World Cup if they could beat Australia at the Saitama Stadium 2002. Just before half-time, the Japanese nudged themselves in front, Takuma Asano on 41 minutes to give Japan the lead. Then, 8 minutes from time, Japan sealed it, and what a way to do it. Itaguchi on 82 minutes firing Japan into the World Cup, leaving Australia to fight it out with Saudi Arabia on the final match day. Plus, if both of those sides fail to win on the last match day, the United Arab Emirates could also sneak in that place. Either way, here's confirmation that Japan qualified. 2 teams that can't qualify are Thailand and Iraq, and they faced off in Group B's other match at the Rajamangala National Stadium in Bangkok. The opening goal in this one came from the away side, Justin Moram, on 34 minutes to give Iraq the lead. It wasn't until the second half that Thailand were able to get an equaliser, but even then it was Iraq that scored the goal, Ibrahim on 63 minutes with an own goal. It wasn't to be Thailand's day, however, and 5 minutes from time, they were to concede a penalty, which was converted on 85 minutes by Saad Abdul Amir. The final score, Thailand 1, Iraq 2. Moving on to the final matchday in Group B, we stay with Iraq, who were playing the United Arab Emirates at the Amman International Stadium in Jordan. And while they were technically not at home, they still had the home advantage, and it counted as Ayman Hussein gave them a 29th minute lead, one that they held on to the entire game and won the match 1-0. So, the United Arab Emirates couldn't get the result they needed, which meant it was between Australia and Saudi Arabia for that last qualification place. Out of the two, Australia probably had the easier match as they faced Thailand at the Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. The Socceroos had to wait until the second half to get their opening goal though, Tommy Juric heading them in front on 69 minutes. They didn't have it all their own way though, and Thailand got themselves an equaliser on 82 minutes thanks to Pocklaw. But 4 minutes from time, Australia got the result they needed. Matthew Leckie getting the decisive goal on 86 minutes. The final score, Australia 2, Thailand 1. With standings as they were, all Saudi Arabia needed to do to finish ahead of Australia was win. But that wasn't going to be as easy as it sounds, as they faced off against group winners Japan. On 63 minutes though, the crowd at the King Abdullah Sports City in Jeddah were sent into jubilation as Fahad Al Muwallad scored the winning goal that gave Saudi Arabia their first World Cup qualification since 2006. Here's the final standings, Saudi Arabia finishing above Australia on goal difference. Here is your confirmation graphic for Saudi Arabia. Australia will have to go through the playoffs. On to Group A now, and Syria were hosting Qatar at the Hang Jebat Stadium in Krubong, Malaysia due to security concerns. We were only 7 minutes into the game when Omar Karbin opened the scoring for Syria. That lead lasted just under half an hour, and on 35 minutes Ali Asadallah equalised for Qatar. Syria got back into the swing of things in the second half, and on 54 minutes, Omar Karbin got his second of the match to put Syria back in the lead. Syria's victory was confirmed 5 minutes into injury time when Al Mawas scored to make it 3-1 to Syria. The result meant that Syria still had a very real chance of catching South Korea in second place. Another team with a very realistic chance to qualify was Uzbekistan, and they travelled to the Wuhan Sports Center Stadium to take on China. The Uzbekistan opportunity took a major hit though towards the end of the game as they conceded a penalty. Gao Lin stepped up to take it on 84 minutes and converted to give China a 1-0 win. The team leading the way for that last qualification spot was South Korea, and they were taking on the team that had already qualified, Iran, at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Unfortunately for South Korea, this one ended 0-0, so here is the usual couple of chances. We'll be back in a moment with the next match. The draw meant that South Korea would go into the final match day 3 points ahead of Uzbekistan and 2 ahead of Syria, and Uzbekistan and South Korea were in the opening match in the final match day at the Bunyodkor Stadium in Tashkent. Unfortunately for us viewers, this one was also a 0-0 draw, the usual couple of chances, blah blah blah. The result meant that Uzbekistan were out of contention, but South Korea could still qualify as long as Syria didn't beat Iran. But before we go to that match, let's just check on the two other teams in Group A, Qatar and China, who faced off in the Khalifa International Stadium in Doha. The home side were the first team to score just after half-time, Afif scoring on 47 minutes. Interesting celebration there, but it was for nothing as China equalised on 74 minutes through Zhao Zi. This was actually the fourth time the two teams had faced off in this qualification tournament, and it would be China taking the spoils in the final game when Wu Lei scored on 84 minutes to give them a 2-1 win. Which leaves us with the final match of the video and the big crunch game as Iran took on Syria at the Azadi Stadium in Tehran. Syria needed a win and they got the perfect start when Haj Mohammed pounced on a rebound on 13 minutes to open the scoring. Group winners Iran weren't just going to let Syria walk over them though, and on 45 minutes Sardar Azmoun got an equaliser. In the second half, things went from bad to worse for Syria, as Azmoun got his second of the game on 64 minutes to put Iran in front. Syria pushed and finally got their equaliser 3 minutes into injury time, Omar Al-Samar scoring the goal. Unfortunately for them though, there wasn't time to get another and the match finished 2-2. But don't you worry, the dream isn't over for Syria just yet, as they finished in third place on goal difference ahead of Uzbekistan, meaning they make the playoffs and face off against Australia. South Korea though, they qualify for the World Cup, joining Japan, Iran and Saudi Arabia. That's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed. Plenty more World Cup qualifying action to come, so like and subscribe.